3, 2,
and
1.
you. Yeah. Okay. Hey guys, and welcome back to Bants and Bergs episode. Oh, I just gave it a nickname, Burgers. Ooh, maybe we could be onto something here.
Name.
We would save a lot of time by cutting it down to Bergs from Burgers.
That's true.
We could do lots with our spare time. Episode 2. It's Bonnie and Jarrod here. And we are going to be talking today about comp prep. When I posted a Q&A a little while ago asking just like, what you guys want to hear from the podcast, there was a lot of people that wanted to know about comp prep. Well, a lot of questions coming through. So today we're going to do a whole podcast on that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I'm keen. But Jarrod, how's your week been? What's been going on? Talk to me.
Yeah, it's been good. I've just been training, doing a bit of client stuff. I don't know. Had a bit of a stressful week. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I don't know, fell off my diet a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard when are you like a stress eater or are you stress?
I'm a stress starver.
Oh, see, I'm the other way around. I just if I'm stressed, I'm like, just need to have I'm like a horse. I need to constantly graze.
I'll literally I'll be like, I'm not eating for the next 3 days because something should happen on Monday. And then and which is so bad because obviously I'm trying to be big.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it crazy how everyone just like deals with things so differently? Like
I feel like it's self-sabotage whenever you get stressed. So like for you, you're like you want to get shred, and
so I overeat and then you undereat. Isn't that wild? I didn't. I shouldn't say that. I don't wish that was my problem, but yeah. Anywho, that might ruffle a few feathers. But do you want to know how my week's been?
Can you please tell me? Yeah. God, I'm so sorry.
Well, I hate to rub it in, but I've had a really good week actually. The last few weeks for me have been a bit stressful, as you would know. I've just been a bit of like a roller coaster of emotions in terms of lots of different things, competing being one of them, just like a lot of self-sabotaging behaviours coming back out that I thought I was over, a lot of self-doubt, my brain's been going like a million miles an hour, but I'm feeling really good this week. I've had an amazing week of training. My nutrition's been great. I've just been in a really good mindset. So woo! Let's see how long it lasts.
Positive check-ins. Yeah. That's what I like to see.
I'm stoked with how this week's been going and I've got a nice chilled weekend planned, so I'm pretty keen for that. You're right. Where's the Coke Zero? I thought we'd done the Coke Zero.
There was one
obviously
hiding.
They're hiding.
I'm fiending for one.
How good's Coke Zero? No, Pepsi Max is better, I reckon. What do you reckon? Are you a Peppy Mac or a Coke Zero, no sugar?
I used to be Coke when I was a kid and then I swapped to Pepsi Max.
Once you go to Peppy Mac, you don't go back.
Peppy Max.
Oh, that rhymes. Peppy Mac, you don't go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to get on that, hey.
But no, we got the Coke Zero here.
All right. Let's go straight into it. So I think competing is it's kind of like the new trend, hey? Like I get so many girls come to me interested in competing, and to be honest, if I get someone in that comes into a consult with me and they want to compete, I drill them. I'm like,
same.
I literally drill them, and I think it's necessary because it's not something to be taken lightly. So what we want to do today is just literally go into all the ins and outs of competing, what to expect, the cons, pros, tips, all that sort of shit. So if you are someone that wants to compete, I definitely, you are listening. So keep listening because we're about to hit you with the facts.
Yep. Here we go, baby. So why do you compete?
Why do I compete? Let's talk about our experience. So we've both competed once. Hey, so I've only competed once and it was almost freaking three years ago, like 2.5 years ago. Yeah. To be completely honest, when I started competing, it was for the wrong reasons. Yep. I was just new to coaching and I wanted to try and build my profile on Instagram. I'd never really been able to stick to anything before, so I'm like, let's fucking do a comp prep. And that was, my reason. That was my reason for starting. Looking back now, I'm like, dumb bitch.
I feel like it's semi-valid, but
I mean, it's not really enough to get you through. Yeah. But honestly, I soon realised, I'm less than halfway through. I think I was like about the 18 kind of week mark out. I had a long prep because I had quite a bit of body fat to lose when those reasons went out the window. I think I stopped posting on Instagram. I was just head down, focused. It became so much more than that, I think. But my reasons that I realized was that I literally just thrive in that environment, that structure, the dedication. I just was honestly like my best self in all other areas, like not just my training and nutrition. Like it was just crossing over into so many different areas of my life that I just was like, I love this person I'm becoming. But I think like a big kind of turning point for me in prep was a realization that I came to. I think before I competed, I was such like I didn't really express my emotions very well. I just bottled things up. I was kind of had this like tough girl act, and I just like never cried. Like looking back now, I don't think I'd cried in like 3 years or something like that. Like I was just so, emotionless. And I think I was quite like, I could be like quite aggressive sometimes, not so much like to my friends or anything, but just like, towards family and stuff. I just was like, obviously bottling up a lot. And I remember there was one day in my prep where I was doing front squats, and I fucking hate front squats, like with a passion. And I dropped them, and I just was just like everything just hit me at once. Like I just had all these things that came out. And I remember it was the first time anyone had seen me cry. Like I've cried in front of my friend, and I just was like a fucking mess, but I felt so good afterwards. And like I think it was like a massive turning point in me with my life was like learning how to talk to people, because when you're in comp prep, like you need to have a support system, like, and you do need to rely on some people, not just yourself, like there's a lot of things that come up. So that was like a massive learning point for me. And I think as a result, I changed so much as a person. Like looking back now, the person I was then compared to post-comp, like completely.
You're doing it for a different reason. Right?
Yeah, completely different. Yeah. And I think as well, like now just being like, a good kind of set an example for my clients, to show like sort of like practice what you preach. I think I'm a big believer as well, like you sort of manifest or you attract the type of clients, of what you're doing. And that's ideally like what I want to work eventually, like move on to working with, or like specializing is working with, advanced athletes and that kind of vibe. And I think just for me, like discipline is like the ultimate form of self-love. Like if you have a goal and you are disciplined to achieve that goal, like to me, that's just like the ultimate form of self-love. And that's just, I think something
that's your vibe.
Yeah. That's my vibe. I just talk for freaking ages. All right, you go. What's your vibe? Talk to me.
Why do I compete?
Yeah.
I think I sort of touched on it in the last episode. Like when I was a kid, like I was very like shy and reserved. And for me, like I always looked at those people who were like up at the front, in front of the big crowds and stuff. And, they were just like, I idolized them because I just could not fucking do that. So for me, when I chose to compete, I mean, obviously, I'd been training for ages. But yeah, like I just wanted to be one of those people that just didn't give a fuck and that could get up and just not be scared and be fearless or whatever. And so I made that my goal because I just wanted to, conquer that fear. And there's been so many times in my life where like I've been like super fucking terrified of doing a certain thing, and I get a kick out of beating it. I don't know why.
If you're scared of something like that, you should fucking do it because you're going to grow so much from it and learn so much from it.
Yeah. So like, I mean, for me, like this was a big one. I mean, I'm doing skydiving soon, and I fucking hate heights, but I'm getting my like solo license.
How good is that?
That's like just another one that I'm just trying to kick in the ass, So like, I don't know. I just get a big, like, I like saying fuck you to like that fear of doing something. So for me, like getting on stage for me, I was like, I'm going to conquer this weakness of mine and become someone who I idolize rather than someone who I'm like not ashamed of, but just like, like not the person that I don't want to be like my semi-evolved, like, inferior self. I want to be the full potential. Yeah, exactly. So like, that's why I competed. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. And when you competed, how'd you go?
Like I went really good. So for my first comp, like I stepped on stage, like it was the WBFF Pro AM, so it was like international, and I come just short of top 10, like amongst like so many athletes.
Yeah,
and like
that was a big show, I remember.
And I mean, like athletes who are literally like, they're like Instagram famous and like, they're big names in the industry and stuff. So like, standing up on stage even with them was a privilege, and walking away with almost 10th is like, really nice. So I was super stoked. And honestly, like I remember like the first time I got off stage and I was just buzzing.
It's crazy,
like,
hey?
Oh, I've done it. You know what I mean? Like I was like finally like hit that goal was there for years and years for me. So I've always
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah.
My lips are stiff.
Oh, yikes.
But that's how much I love it. Like I love that.
100%, yeah.
And just takes me back to that feel. So good.
Yeah, I frothed it. It was so good. It was so much fun, by the way.
Yeah.
I loved competing. Like it was scary AF.
Yeah. Oh, so
But, like picture this. Like you walk out on a catwalk, like sold out Star Casino, like there's 7,000 people there.
7,000.
Yeah, there was 7,000 in
Really?
the crowd of ours. Yeah, full house.
I'm really bad with like numbers. I'd be like, oh, that was like
Were you
200.
Gold Coast or were you Sydney?
I was Sydney.
Sydney shows a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But still.
I've been to the Gold Coast
very
one though.
big.
Yeah.
The Star Casino was packed and like they're like screaming your name out over the microphone and there's like so many people yelling and cheering and I can literally like, I could almost hear like, because my housemates and that went up like at the time as well and I could almost hear them like, they were screaming, Daddy! And like I was just like, oh my God. But you're in your underwear. And you walk right
Did
to the
you put
end
a
of
sock down your pants? Do guys do that?
I didn't, but maybe that's why I come 10th.
Maybe if you just put a little something down there and then you might go.
Yeah, I'll just prop up to podium finish for next time. Yeah, no.
Crack the code.
So I went to the end of the runway and like you gotta pose like right in the shit of it. Like the judges are I could have kicked that girl in the face from where I was sitting. And you have to balance on when you're posing, you have to balance and you have to hit your pose and like she's right there and I'm like I'm like shitting myself, So like there's so many people. Like it was the most terrifying thing I've done, including jumping out of the plane.
Yeah. Do you know what? I wasn't even scared for some reason.
Oh, dude.
And I'm like a little bitch when it comes to stuff like that. I literally like walked down stage. I said to myself, I said, you are fucking Beyonce. And then I just walked out there.
That's so good. Yeah.
Literally.
No, I was terrified. The first time I walked out, I was shaking like a bitch. And then, the second time out was like a little bit easier. But like that's something I've always struggled with, like being in front of crowds, confidence, all that sort of stuff. Like I have grown a lot since high school, but that was still something that was fucking hard for me, I think.
Yeah.
But it felt so fucking good when I got off stage.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, so I competed in July 2019, I think, in Sydney. I came top 10. I think I came 9th. So I was stoked with that. I know, just beat ya. But, yeah, honestly, like I think my prep, like I said, I kind of had like a changing moment of like my why and all that kind of stuff. And then I think it was like I was like 8 weeks out and I was like, fuck, I might actually do good here. Like I just like was like, I think, I kind of have what it takes. And then I said to myself then I was like, I'm going to get top 10. And then I did and I was just, I was stoked. Like I couldn't like, I'm getting goosebumps again thinking about it. But I just wanted to touch so people know what we're talking about. So with WBFF, there is 2 shows. So you've got the morning show, which is like the judging. We probably should go over the structure of the show. So you've got all your different categories. So with girls, you've got bikini, fitness, and figure. They're just bringing in this year a new one, which is called wellness. So there's a lot, and then that's split up into different height categories. For the guys, there's muscle model and fitness model. So
and
only
they're both in height categories.
So the height categories, and then you've got the morning show, which is like the where they do the judging. So you've got your T walk, which is where you do your posing, and then you've got the comparison rounds, which is where you're standing up against other people doing your quarter turns and just doing your poses, and then that's when they're actually marking you. From that show, they decide pretty much the placings, and then you come back later in the night for like the awards. So you do like a smaller version of what you did in the morning, and then that's where they award the winners and the pro statuses that you get. So that's just like a little insight of how the day runs. Yeah. But yeah, fun, like super fun day. Like we said, had the best time. But what I suppose mostly wanted to go over today was, I suppose mainly the cons, because there are a lot of cons there. Don't get us wrong, there are a lot of pros to it too, but there are a lot of things that people need to be prepared for and they need to know about if you are going to go into doing a comp prep. I also wanted to say, like, we're saying this from a place of love and it's kind of learning from our mistakes. We're not judging anyone for wanting to compete or anything like that. We're just simply, telling you what we've learned in our experiences. So just wanted to put that out there. All right, let's do it.
So
I have a little list on my phone that I've read. Have you let's go through the
I'm
list.
not that prepared. No.
I am not usually prepared, but I have got a lot of things that I want to talk about. So I think if you are going to commit to a prep, there are a lot of things that you need to be aware of, like I just said. First up is the fact that you're probably not going to have a social life for a little while. And if you do, it's going to be very like limited and like a little bit selfish, I suppose. Like you do have to be quite selfish, hey?
So selfish. I miss so many birthdays and you know, you just can't go out and eat with other people.
Yeah.
Like you have to rock up and just like there's so many times I rock up and not eat whatever anyone else is eating and I'll just be sitting there. You know, you can talk to them, but you can't eat the shit they're eating. Like if it's not trackable, if you're not out, if you're at a restaurant or a pub or whatever, like cafe, you can't track that, so you can't eat it. Like that is the bottom line when you're coming down to a prep. Like you have to be able to track everything. So
and there's just too much room for error eating out. So like a lot of the time when you get to the nitty gritty, like everything counts the last few weeks. Like you're just not going to do it. And I think as well, a lot of people don't understand. Like there are, you know, your close friends understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. And you know, if you've got goals and stuff like that, other people's opinions don't matter. But there are a lot of people that just simply don't get it, and they do judge. You know, like why the fuck would you want to do that kind of thing? Yeah. But yeah, and I think, to be honest, though, I still went out a little bit. I was at Fever drinking long blacks when I was on prep. I would go out. So for those of you that don't know that aren't from Wollongong, Fever's a dirty R&B club and I fucking love it. But yeah, I was there. Like there was a few nights where I was there till almost close. Like, and I'd like just go for a drive to Macca's, get a long black and come back.
Just doing a non-weighted.
Getting my knee up. My knee up.
Doing a weighted slut drops in the gym.
Legit.
Non-weighted
bring a booty band. But yeah, so I mean, it is what you make it. But when you're going to have to make sacrifices, and yeah, that is one of them. Another thing I've got here is that you're going to have no energy. Like when it comes down to it, especially the last few weeks of comp prep, you are literally pulling out all stops to drop the body fat that isn't meant to be dropped. So you're going to feel like fucking shit pretty much.
Yeah, I think like I was pretty much living off like pre-workout. Like, I mean, I'd rock up to the gym and like I'd literally like, because when it gets to that late in comp prep, like you're going to want to like, you just spilled that everywhere. You're going to want to like pull out whatever you can to sort of like cut down your calories throughout the day. For me, I did intermittent fasting. You might not want to do that, but like, you know, for me, I wasn't eating until like 3 p.m. and eating all my meals past that and then going to bed like still hungry. Yeah. So I'd rock up to the gym at like 6 a.m. or whatever to work and do my workout and all that shit. And like I would literally be so drained that I'd have like 3 scoops of pre-workout, which is so unhealthy. But you got to do what you got to do. You got to get shit done. So, you know, I was literally training people, like, you know, coaching people on pre-workout. That's how fucked up I was. So like, you know, it's definitely not like, it's not a symbol of health. That's for sure. I think like I always remember like someone telling me like when you compete, like you compete at your worst in this sport and everyone else in any other sport competes at their best. You compete at your worst. So you're literally so drained. You're so tired. You're so depleted. You're weak. You're grumpy. You feel like shit. That's how you compete. And the further you can push yourself into that fucking rut, like the better you're probably going to go, honestly.
Yeah. I think as well, like there definitely is like ways to make it better. Like I think my experience with competing, like I said before, I was like freaking in the zone and I was just like my best self. I had all these structures put in place to put me in the best possible situation. Like I had a bedtime, I'd put my phone on airplane mode. I was in such a good routine that I don't think I suffered as much as some people do, but it just depends where you're at, how much you've got to lose, how your body responds. Some people just don't respond well and they need to freaking like go, you know, low calories and that's just, you know, a part of it. So, I think the no energy thing, there definitely are ways to make it better, but it is just something that is going to happen no matter like what the severity is.
Yeah, 100%. Like if you're used to eating like up here and then now you're down here, like you're going to suffer. Like, and I mean, that's even coming from someone who, like in my off season, I'm eating like 8,000 calories a day.
Fucked. Fuck you.
and then like in my prep, like I'm pushing down to like 2,500, and like that sucked for me because I'm used to up here. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like me. Like I can eat quite a lot of food compared to some girls. I'm like, fuck, I don't know how some of the low calories that I see, but I mean, it's just what needs to be done. Hey, with that comes low sex drive. So if you've got a partner, they're probably not going to get any roots for a little while.
my ex-girlfriend suffered, like suffered hard for sure. Like it was the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like you just don't have energy for it.
I had no energy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to go to bed straight away. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, but like I just don't. Yeah.
You ain't getting
was the
addicted to
worst.
that.
For real.
So yeah, but that's just part of it, along with other things that suffer when you don't have
Grumpiness.
energy.
Honestly, when your friends are the ones that honestly suffer the most. I think your friends and family and your partner.
I remember
because they have to deal with some shit.
Yeah, I remember I wasn't grumpy, but I just would get emotional easy. I remember this one time, I remember it so clearly when I'd had just the worst day, just like I was, and because your brain, like you get brain fog, like because you're on low calories and you're like making decisions is so hard. I remember I was trying to plan my food and I was just couldn't hit my macros and I was just so frustrated. And then I cooked oats and I dropped it and smashed everywhere. And I just started crying and my mum just looked at me. She goes, "How many grams? Tell me. Go sit on the couch. I'll make it for you." I'm like, "Thank you so much." So like just, you've got to have people that are understanding around you because there are some moments that are.
Yeah, there was definitely some moments there for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think a massive one that you probably hear a lot of people talk about is post-comp blues.
Holy shit.
They get
Did
you
I
good.
hit the post-comp blues and also like the post-comp blowout? Man, like, because when you push your body so far, like you're pushing and pushing and pushing, you're starving, to a sense, like starving yourself for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then you get to the end of the show and you can eat again, which is good. Like, replenishing glycogen, blah, 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 like
all
getting
that shit,
hydrated, replenishing your muscles. They get fuller, they get bigger. Man, you gain so much size
Dude,
after
my
comp,
ass
like
doubled
crazy,
in size.
because you're just so depleted of glycogen. And then once you actually have a good amount of food again, your muscles just look so full and just like you look I think I gained like 6 kilos like in the first like couple of weeks, like after comp.
Yeah.
And it was all just solid. Like I didn't blow out, but then like after that, because like when you're pushing so low, like your hormones get way lower, like your hunger hormones and all that, they change so much. And then you get hungrier and hungrier as you push your calories lower and lower because your body is trying to equalize what's going on. It's like, no, we need to eat. And it tries to tell your body more and more and more. We're not full yet. We're not full. So then you start craving food like ravenously.
Because that's what ultimately our bodies, like guys, are trying to do. Like whenever we're dieting or anything, like our bodies are trying to not let us die. Like ultimately that's what we're doing when we are shredding down is we're dropping body fat and our body doesn't know that we're trying to get shredded. It's like this bitch is dying. Like what is she doing? So it's sending signals to our brain. It's like you're hungry, you're not getting full pretty much. So that's where your ghrelin and leptin... ghrelin and leptin, those hormones get messed with and you just want food and you don't get full pretty much.
And as a side effect, like when you do come off that dieting phase and you can eat again, you just have an endless amount of food that you can eat. Like like I would just eat food and I would just not be hungry. I would still be hungry. Yeah. Like I would eat that burger and I would eat that burger and those chips and that, and then I'd still be hungry. And I remember this one time, like after comp, like I was at this party and they ordered pizzas for everyone. Like it was meant to be for everyone. And like I had like 3 full pizzas from Domino's and then like they had made this cake and they brought the cake out and had cake. And then I think like one of the guys at the party was like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like you're actually eating like everything." And then I like, because it was my ex's house and like we went back in to like, pack stuff away like afterwards. And there was like this tub of icing on the counter like that they had made the cake out of and it was half full because they hadn't used it all. And I literally smashed the whole tub of icing after the pizzas. And
it's just what happens. And I think
it's so bad. And like I was in them. I had cramps in my stomach. I was that fucking... It felt like I was going to burst, but I was still hungry. Yeah. That's how fucked up your hormones get when you compete. Like, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's that's something that like one of my other points is the binge eating. So that is something that is so common. Like you see it so often, people blowing out after like ideally you want to reverse diet up, which is like slowly build your calories back up. So just unfortunately doesn't happen a lot of the time. I know me, I just had all these things. I had a freaking Bali holiday booked after mine. I went to an all-you-can-eat buffet breakfast for fucking 7 days. I'm like, I don't think these people realize how much I can eat. But so that's one thing that you need to be aware of. And I think it's really important that you have a good coach and you have a good support system around you, so that you have a plan afterwards, so you can follow that. But I know with the post-comp blues, like I think the main thing that comes with that is that there's just such a big lead up. I know for me, I did freaking 30-week prep almost, and like a lot of people do, like, you know, do 20-week preps, and it's a long time coming, and it's like every single day you're working towards this goal, and you're look at me using my hands, I'm getting into it, but you know, you're working towards this goal every single day, you're committed to it, and then you have the day, you've got all these people messaging you on the day, and it's just the best day ever, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, what the fuck do I do with my life? And it's all over, all that hype's gone, and it's like depressing. It's like people go on holidays and they come back and they're lost. Like that's just what it's like, and it's really hard to deal with.
And talk about like, I felt like a lot of people like, you know, say like, oh, like it's almost eating disordered. It fucking is eating disordered. Like when you come out the other end and like you're in that mentality of like, I can't eat anything that I can't track and stuff. Like it took me 2 weeks to eat like a cupcake guilt-free.
Yeah.
Like outside of the scope of my diet after comp. And I was like, holy fuck, like this is like a serious problem. Like, and I mean, granted, I've never had eating problems at all, like in my life. So, you know, for me, I knew that, okay, this is fucked up and I need to put XYZ plan in place so that I can get out of this rut that I'm in and put an effort into, you know, not making that a big problem of mine. But this is another thing you have to consider when you are looking to compete is if you're the type of person who has any signs of any of that sort of thing, this is not for you.
And even if you don't, they can manifest from it. Like they can be like happen as a result. So it's just something that you really need to be careful about. And I was going to say something, but I forgot. But I don't know. For me, I had a history of binge eating, but I didn't realize it. I didn't know until it was after comp, and I did really struggle with binge eating. And then I was like, hang on, like I've done this before when I was a teenager, like yo-yo dieting, and it's just flared up from it. But yeah, so that's just one of the realities of it. And another thing that comes with like with the post-comp blues kind of thing is body dysmorphia, and that just like fucks you up when it comes to having the eating, like disordered eating as well.
Look, I think this is like all of these points as well is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a million reasons why you should fucking get a coach. If you're gonna compete, it doesn't matter whether it's even you or me, like you get a coach, because at the end of the day, you need that third person to tell you, oh, look, like you're lean enough, or
100%.
you are starting to show signs of like, you know,
just pull you up, like you're harder.
You're going crazy, or like you know, because a lot of the times, like, or almost all the time, when you're that deep into the dieting, you don't realize it. You know, you don't realize that you're, you know, oh, I'm so shredded, but like, you don't feel like it. When I look back, I'm like, I'm not lean enough, and then I look at photos of myself from the day before, or even like 3 weeks out, and I'm like, holy shit! Like I was like, oh, there's no way. Like I'm so lean. It's crazy,
hey, that like you have got these like little goggles on. Like I even remember looking back a little while ago at some check-in photos that I took post-comp. I think it was like 2 weeks post-comp or something like that. And I took some photos, and I remember I didn't send them to my coach because I was too embarrassed about how I looked. And I look back at them now, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like
straight ripped. Hey?
Yeah, just fucking shredded. Like I had a bit of a gut from eating too much, but I still had abs. Like, but yeah, it's so crazy the tricks that your mind plays on you. So yeah, that's another thing, the body dysmorphia that comes with it. So yeah, they're like all the fucked up things that come with comp prep. Another thing as well is the cost. It is very expensive.
Let's talk about that, because that is the last fucked up thing about it, is how much that shit costs. Like, I mean, you're talking about like, you know, I think several hundred to even just get the photos, and then hundreds to even register.
Well, let's go through it. So like registration's what, like $300, $400?
Registration was like $400, I think, and then like
if you want to go
the photos and videos, I think it tied it up to $1,000.
Yeah, and that's if you just want to do one.
I think they did it in US dollars when I did it, and it was actually ended up being like 1,300. And I was like, holy fuck.
So you're looking at and you want to get the photos. Like if you're going to do a comp prep, you want to get you want to go all out. Like you don't want to do it cheap.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, I reckon show day, just registering and photos, you're looking at about $1,000. Then you've got accommodations. So everyone that does, this is WBFF guys as well. This is what we know. So most people, it's like recommended to stay in the host hotel, which is like right near the show. It just makes things easier. Like you're
Honestly,
there at 5
you do not
a.m.
need any extra stress on the day.
You just want everything to run smoothly.
So you need everything like right there. You need to be right near the building. You need to not be able to need to travel at all. So
that's what, $400 or something for.
I mean,
600, like even.
Dude, I paid for 2 or 3 nights.
Yeah.
Like in mine, and then you got to. I did Gold Coast as well, so I had to fly up there and return.
Yeah,
and then you're looking at photo shoots on top of that. I booked 2 in while I was up there.
And they're like, like between $400 and $700, but for a photo shoot.
Depending on the person.
And like we said, you want to kind of go all out if you're going to put the effort in to do a whole comp
Then you're
prep.
looking at outfits. Then you're looking at like, so now you guys got to get bikinis?
Yeah,
that can be $1,000 there. Easy.
I paid $800 for my bikini, and then with the girls. So if you're doing bikini, it's just you have a bikini and then you have an evening gown. I think I hired my evening gown for around $200. So I would definitely recommend hiring it.
I got my suit, but like I will wear that again.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Like I was like okay with that, but like that's still like you're paying like $700-800 there for a suit, like a good one.
100%. And then if you're doing fitness, you have like the theme wear, so that's another couple of hundred. I think most girls just do like an extension on their bikini, so that's
like wearing wings and shit.
Yeah, like Victoria's
Secret.
Cool. I almost want to do fitness just so I can do that.
You just got to get more jacked, man.
Yeah. One day. So yeah, that's like, and then as well for girls, hair and makeup. So you've got your hair and makeup and they do your tan as well. So I can't even remember. I think that was almost like $500. And like they say that you've got to get them to do your makeup because, you want it to match your tan, all that kind of stuff. And they fix your tan up. Like you'd be silly not to because they're constantly touching up your tan on the day and doing all that kind of stuff. So that's something that you need to do, your hair and makeup.
Even just like outfits for the photo shoots, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna get photo shoots, you want like different clothes and that for that. You're gonna buy new stuff for sure. I think I spent like $1,500 minimum on like just new clothes to go up to Gold Coast for 4 days.
And rego night, so they do a rego night the night before. You need an outfit for that.
Dude, how much money have we spent so far? Has anyone literally kept up with that? Because
then as well
into the thousand, like we're talking like almost $5,000, I reckon.
Yeah. I reckon just show it. But then you've got the lead up, so you've got your coaching. So you're going to pay anywhere from I'm going to say like $70 to $250 for a coach a week, depending on what package you're getting and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you've got your coaching and then your posing as well. That's another thing you need to do, and you need to get a posing coach because posing is so important.
That is the hardest part.
Yeah,
it's literally
make or break.
I thought I'd taken enough mirror selfies in my time to know how to pose, but let me tell you, when you're in front of like a big yoga mirror in the gym, in front of people in your underwear, and you're like, what the fuck do I do with my hands? What do I do with my feet? How do I tilt my head?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It feels like you're learning to dance in high school, and that shit is embarrassing as fuck. I don't know. Or at least it was for me.
Yeah, no, I remember I was actually watching videos of my first posing lesson the other day. I'm like, oh dear Lord, like what the hell was I doing? But yeah, that's probably around 100 to 200, like for a face-to-face, around like 150 kind of mark each time you go. Fuck.
Yeah, that's
but the good thing is that you're not really going out and doing much apart from gymming and training and that. So once you buy your food and you do all that, like it's not like you're out partying and spending money every weekend. Like so but it is a big investment. I had
someone come up to me and say that the other day. Hey, they were like, "Oh, look, like I'm doing 3 sessions a week with Guy or whatever," and then like one of the guys who trains at our gym. So, and she was like, but you know what? Like, if I'm going to take this seriously, I'm not going to be drinking anyway, and I'm not going to be going out or whatever.
Yeah, that's it.
So, the money I'm saving on that, I'm spending on PT and training and dieting and whatever, and then you're actually getting the most out of it anyway. So, in terms of coaching, I think maybe you can check that off, but still, we're looking at a mountain load of money just to compete. So then you have to think about why are you doing it?
That's it.
Like, do you have a good reason? Because if you don't, you really just need to sit down and take a big assessment on why you're doing it, because you can be shredded you don't have to compete to be shredded. Do you know what I mean?
One thing
have a good body.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I always ask my clients is, would you do it if you couldn't post about it on Instagram? And I think that's a big thing, because if you're doing it for, you know, any kind of like, I suppose like there's going to be an element of an ego thing in it.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can deny that. But if you're doing it solely for those reasons, then it's in most cases not worth it, I would say. And if you're doing it for reasons, you know, to gain social media, if you're doing it to boost your business and stuff like that, it's not fucking worth it. Like,
let me tell you, I gained next to fucking 0 followers. Like when I competed, like that's
I
not
was
a thing.
like, I'm going to post all the time. And
you
then
think you're going to get up on stage in front of thousands of people and everyone's going to add you there? You're wrong. You're dead wrong. Like no one is going there to add you. They're all there to fucking watch their family and friends compete against you.
Yeah.
You know, you may get a dozen or two followers, you know what I mean? Like, but it's not going to be worth the thousands of dollars you spend. So if you go on there for that, forget about it.
Yeah. And I think it's like a bucket list kind of thing. A lot of people just want to do it for a bucket list. And although, it is like cool to say, oh yeah, I did that, I was committed, but I think there's got to be like something more in there, a solid why. So I think that's one thing I recommend, is just really digging deep and sitting down and thinking, okay, what are my reasons? Why am I doing it? And then figure out your why, and then freaking stick to it and don't forget it, because there will be times where you question like, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, and you've just got to keep bringing it back to that why, and that's just going to be your purpose for it.
Yeah. For me, I think like I just want to do it so that I could have that as a credential of mine, so that if someone comes up to me and says, oh, you coach people, can you coach me to compete? I can say, yeah, I can. Yeah. I've been there. I've done that. And like, I mean, I will do it again because I enjoyed it, and, you know, because it is my job now. And like, I think like there's I think it's a good thing to have that on your name. If you, you know, reach a certain level in the competition, obviously you must know your shit, right? So,
yeah. And I think as well, like us being coaches, every single day we're coaching people to achieve their goals and, you know, reach their full potential. And it's like, okay, well, we need to kind of have like a goal for ourselves as well, to keep us going. So I think that's another, you know, reason to do that. Just having something to work towards is nice. It's nice. Yeah. But then, just I think you're constantly learning and evolving, and, you know, being a better coach, being a better person, like, the more you can learn about yourself, the better. So that's, one of my reasons, one of my whys.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me also, like, you know, as a pro, like, I like having that deadline. You know, if I have a deadline for something, I'm like, I have to, like, I need something to make me commit. Like, you know, if I say, okay, by fucking whatever date I want to be lean, like, that's not specific enough for me, and it's not driving me enough. So for me, I use that, I got to be on stage on this date. Like, I got to be ready, you know. So I
don't want to be on stage.
I use that as a bit of motivation for myself, and because I already like doing it, like, I want to be on stage, so, you know, that's a drive for me. So for someone who, you know, you need to set a deadline or something, it may be a good idea, but, you know, you can always book in a photo shoot and work towards that. It's the same thing, you know.
Yeah,
so
I think
for me, that's why I use it as a bit of motivation.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. One thing I wanted to talk to you about. But I always think about in terms of like post comp, I think I would love to sort of dive into like the differences between girls, females and males, because I feel like I don't know, just from my experience and seeing males compete, and talking about post comp, I see it kind of like as a bit of a joke, like thing, like, oh, like I ate that much food, blah, 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 talking about how it's like kind of funny that they put on this weight, but like I see a lot of girls being very self-conscious, not wanting to talk about it, and just feeling very alone in that process. So would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I would definitely agree. Like, I mean, for me, like, it was a bit of a joke. Like I said, like when I put on like 6 kilos in 2 weeks, like after my comp, I was like, look at me, I'm fucking juicy, man.
Yeah.
Like, but, you know, like obviously, you know, as a guy, we want to be big, you know what I mean? Like, I'm looking to put on kilos all the time. Like, you know, if I lost 6 kilos in 2 weeks, I wouldn't say a damn thing about it. You know what I mean? So
it's just, I suppose, that mindset behind it. I suppose, you know, that is what a lot of girls do struggle with, that self-confidence in terms of that, you know, idea that you need to be smaller that we're trying to break away from. But I think as well with the guys, it's the other way around. It's, you know, that idea of wanting to be bigger and not being big enough. So I think it would just come down to that. Hey.
Yeah. And I think also it's just a good idea to keep a healthy mindset on like the stages of your diet. And like I try to like teach my male and female clients, like, you know, embrace the part of your diet that you're in.
Yeah.
You know, like don't be afraid of like, you know, if you're a chick going through a building phase, like that shit is good for you. You know, get
100%.
strong, get powerful. Be a strong woman. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Focus on what your body can do.
You're in the gym trying to better improve. You're trying to become an athlete. You're not trying to, you know, just lose weight. That's not the idea. You know, you're trying to be an athlete. You're trying to perform better. So when you're in a building phase, think of it like that. Go in the gym and smash your PBs out. Like, hit heavier weights, pick heavier weights up, do harder stuff. Like, and then vice versa, when you're in a cutting phase as a dude, like, embrace that. You know, you
take them mirror selfies.
100%. Like, do not be upset when you can't go in and hit your 3-plate bench press one week when you could do it last week. If you're dieting. You probably, you know, you may maintain strength, but you may not. You may lose some. Like, that is the name of the game. You know, like you're gonna go up and down and up and down. It's never linear. It's never easy. You're gonna have ups and downs, and you know, if you want to get to where you're going, you have to go both ways at some point. So embrace it.
I think the most important thing that I realized, like, post-comp, is that you're not alone. Like, and I think that's one thing that I want to stress to anyone who is competing or maybe struggling with post-comp blues or anything like that, is that it is super common. I mean, it shouldn't really be normal, I suppose, but it is to a sense, to the fact that it's common and a lot of people experience it. So just, not being scared to reach out, because I know when I started finally talking about it, that's when it started getting better for me. And now I've learned, you know, from my experience, like, I've come to the realization I don't like being that as lean as I was, you know, and being that committed all the time. I think there's, you know, periods of your life where you need to, like, you know, turn up the volume in terms of being strict, and then being, you know, being a little bit more balanced. And I like being juicy. I like having, you know, a full bum and, you know, having a bit of meat on me. So, you know, just coming to those realizations and not getting so caught up with, you know, one day. But yeah, I think, that's super interesting. That's something I've always sort of thought about. But yeah, a few other, I think a good way of ending it would be just a few little tips if you are going to compete.
Oh, yeah.
A few little tips. So I think one thing I see all the time is people coming straight off the bat, no training, really history, and just wanting to compete. I think if you want to compete, I would say absolute minimum, you need to have at least 1 year of training experience under your belt, because, you know, a comp prep, you're leaning down, you need to have a solid base under there. Otherwise, you're going to get on stage looking like a stick. And I think you kind of need to earn the right to compete in a way. Like, you can't just come off of, you know, 1 6-week challenge that you first ever gym you've done and be like, fuck yeah, let's compete. Like, you need to kind of earn the right and do the hard work, and then just sort of use it as a way of just taking your training to that next level. I think
you got to get into that mentality of training. You know, you can't just expect to walk on stage and not be mentally prepared to put in the effort over many, many weeks, you know. So, and you know what, maybe it's not even for you. You know, if you haven't spent enough time in the gym, if you haven't spent a year in the gym, you're honestly not going to know whether you're going to enjoy that or not. And if you're going to push yourself to the absolute max without even knowing if you're going to enjoy it or not, like what a waste of time, honestly. I just think that's an unhealthy mindset, you know, and you need to build up that base, build up those calories as well.
Yeah, you want to have a good starting point
before you can cut back. Like, I see a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm eating, you know, 900 calories, or I'm eating 1,600 calories and I want to compete, or I want to cut down, and I'm like, babe, or dude, or whatever, or chick, you need to build your calories up. Like, you cannot build a castle on a shit foundation.
No,
you know
that's
what I mean? Like, you have to build your calories up, because what the reality is, like, am I going, like, if you're on 900 calories, even if you're on 1,600 calories, am I going to cut you down from there? No. Like, you're going to be starving. You know, if you're hitting your, you know, minimum protein requirement and your minimum fat requirement, which I mean is a thing, by the way, minimum fat requirement, chicks especially, like, you're going to lose your period if you don't have a minimum fat limit per day, you know. Once you've hit that, I think it's 1,200 calories. I worked it out the other day. It was like 4 calories per gram of protein, 9 calories per gram of fat. Like, if you add that up and then do the math per body weight of what you weigh, like, you literally got 1,200 calories, or I think it's 1,100 calories it's going to take just to get you to those minimum values. Then you've got zero. That's at 0 carbs.
Yeah.
That sounds
there's
horrible.
not much work.
So that is literally bottom of the barrel. So if you're at 1,600, you've only got 500 to cut, and like that's a lot. That's a fucking big Mac.
So I think
that's a Big Mac.
Yeah. Fucking Big Mac.
Thanks.
I think, so our top tips would just be to have a solid foundation in terms of your training, be in a good position to start your dieting because like Jarrod said, you want to be on nice high calories so you've got room to move.
2,000.
Not, and you don't want to be doing much cardio, all that kind of stuff because when you comp prep, you want to do more. You need to always be adding more to get that result. So if you're already doing heaps, you're going to have to do heaps up. That's our little motto. Finding a good coach, someone who's experienced, and I think someone who's experienced competing for themselves is like a massive thing. They need to know what you're going through 100%. So they can relate.
Yep.
And I think the last thing is just have enough time. You don't want to have to be pulling out all stops to get where you want to be. I think in the olden days, they used to do 12 weeks, not olden days, but back when it first started, it was just that you did a 12-week prep. That's what you did. But now people are starting to do longer, 16, 20 weeks, just because you don't want to have to be
My
going
first
crazy.
comp was a 36-week prep.
Yeah, that was what mine was too.
Yeah, 36 weeks. That's to get me from a sloppy rig though to
same.
stage ready.
Mine was post-Europe sloppy rig.
104 and I cut down to 87.
Yeah.
That's like
wild.
a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I was a chonky boy.
Chonky. That was loud. Okay. But I think we've pretty much covered everything. So cons, pros, don't get us wrong, there are some pros.
Dude, there's so many pros. It was
pros.
awesome to compete. It was really nice to compete. And you hit your goals, you feel fantastic when you get off. You feel like you've achieved something. You're working towards a huge goal. I will be back on stage again, 100%. I loved it.
Yeah.
Bonnie, you loved it.
Yeah, definitely. I think one thing I say to the people that come to me wanting to compete is these are the things you need to know. But if it's something that you can't stop thinking about, I think you should do it. You know what I mean? I'm not one to push a comp prep on anyone, but if it's something that you think about daily and you're like, fuck, I just wish I could do that. I really want to do that. Then I think you owe it to yourself to give it a go.
Yep.
But you just need to be prepared for what's going to happen, and you need to, know
you need
exactly.
to get a professional to help you, 100%. You cannot walk on stage without help.
No.
Period.
No way.
But
No
it was
way.
good. It was fun.
Good times.
Can't
good
wait
memes.
to do it again.
I'm actually
We're going to
keen.
both step on stage in July together. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, not together.
Not together because
that'd be weird if
I've
I come
got a
out in
vagina. You got a little.
Whoa.
All right, never mind.
I do not have a vagina. So I'll be in men's physique and you'll be in bikini, and hopefully we'll walk away with a podium spot minimum.
Yeah.
Let's work on it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this bitch up.
Cool.
Thanks for tuning in. Next week, we're going to be touching on the topics of nutrition and training. We're not really sure if we're going to do it in 1 or 2 or what we'll talk about first, but we would love to know what you guys want to hear training nutrition-wise. So definitely slide into our DMs with some suggestions.
We will put up a Q&A on our Instagram if you want to click us follow and then sling us a message or, answer the questions, send the questions in, and we'll sift through them and find the best ones, and we'll touch on as many as we can. I think we should have a lot of time to go through all of them if possible.
Sweet.
So training, nutrition, we'll put that up. If anyone has any questions, send it in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.